Hey guys, and welcome to the Main Street Moments podcast. This is Kathy.
And Brian.
And we want to thank everybody for listening to our podcast, which you can find on iTunes, and we upload it to YouTube, so you can listen there as well.
At Main Street Moments on YouTube.
That's right. And we want to thank everyone who found us through Resort TV One. We are a proud sponsor of their channel now. I'm so excited about that because we've been a fan of Resort TV One for about a year.
Yeah.
And Josh and Jenna and their whole crew do amazing live streams. So we just started sponsoring them. We're so excited. So thanks, guys, for listening, and we welcome you to the show.
Yeah, in fact, I'll tell you, a few months ago, actually, it might have been more than a few months ago. It might have been around last Christmas time. I was at the Magic Kingdom, and Josh from Resort TV One was doing his Friday Night Live when I was there.
Yeah.
And
you got to meet him.
Yeah, and I was trying to find him, and I was watching Josh on my iPhone, and I knew he was on Main Street around where the flag is, around the Christmas tree. The Christmas tree was still up, so it's been a while. And it was really hard to find him. But if you go through
it was crowded too.
Yeah, if you go through our channel, Main Street Moments on YouTube, you can find the video. Where it's amazing when I'm watching Josh on the phone and I'm looking around, and it still was very hard to. But I did find him.
He's tall. He's a tall guy too.
Yeah.
Okay, so the things we're going to talk about on this episode, we're going to discuss the changes coming to EPCOT, which I am frankly thrilled for. Okay, I mean EPCOT, especially the Future World, has been pretty much the same since it opened in 1982, and we're going to talk about the changes coming there. And we're going to talk about a few things in the Disney news that are a little controversial right now. Not that we want to get controversial, but everybody's talking about the new Ariel casting. And also a blooper scene was removed from Toy Story 2 because it had to do with Me Too movement. So people are all, talking about that. And
Lots of stuff
Disney
going on.
removed this scene.
Well,
So
when we were talking about, everyone's talking about all these updates at EPCOT, by the way. And, Future World's getting this huge update, and it's going to be a mess for like the next 2 years because they're tearing down all these buildings.
I think 4 years, they said. 4 to 5 years.
It's going to be a complete mess. I was inconvenienced when they had the walls up around the mausoleum honoring monuments. But they are tearing down the Innoventions building where Club Cool is.
The West.
Right? Yeah.
Innoventions West.
And I got to tell you, I cannot wait for them to tear down that building. It's going to be a mess for a long time when they're doing it. But when you go into that building, because during the Food and Wine Festival, they have the Light Lab in there.
Right.
And it's a place where people go. There's really nothing in the building. There's that area where Club Cool is, but on the backside of the building, there's nothing in there except air conditioning and bathrooms. And when the Light Lab's not there during the Food and Wine Festival. And people go in there to cool off on the hot days.
It's very cold. It's very cold in that building.
But that building, and you guys, let us know in the comments below. To me, that building smells like mold and mildew when I walk in. It has an awful smell. I go in there a lot because it's so hot at EPCOT, and it's a place where I know there's air conditioning, and I can sit on the floor and cool off for a little bit. But I think that, they're tearing down that Innoventions building, but not the other one where Mouse Gears is.
Well, the other one, they have Innoventions West and East. And the Innoventions West is the one closest to the entrance, and they're tearing that whole thing down. Nobody really knows what they're putting there. I think they want to open it up more and have a more open area because it's really closed off. And I've read a lot of things and seen a lot of vlogs where they're saying they want to open up Future World where you can see from one end to the other, which is a good idea, where it's more open. Because right now there's so many buildings.
Yeah.
And you get lost in there sometimes, and you can't see past one building. It's not open. It's a little claustrophobic.
Yeah.
So they're getting rid of that whole front building completely. And then Innoventions East, where Mouse Gear is, which is one of my favorite stores, and I'm really glad they're redoing that store. They're going to close that store. They're redoing it completely. They're going to have a temporary location somewhere, probably a smaller version. They're going to redo that. They are going to also get rid of, like you said, Club Cool. They don't know where they're putting it, somewhere in the future. But on Innoventions East, they're not just demolishing the entire building, they're just remodeling the Mouse Gears, and they're relocating a lot of the characters. So
well, I imagine when they tear down the Innoventions building with Club Cool, because you're going to Club Cool is hard to walk in because the floor is so sticky. It's like your feet, or it's like you're walking in glue sometimes. I can only imagine what it must look like under the floor at Club Cool. All these years of people spilling soda all over the place. It's got to be a mess under. But that building, I think the reason they're tearing that building, I know they're saying because they want to have this clear view and open area.
Yeah.
Because of the smell of the building, I think it's more environmental. I think it's got something wrong with the building, and they're tearing it down for environmental reasons.
Who knows?
Because it's easier.
Well, they have okay, so here's some of the things. The Mickey, Minnie, and Pluto meet and greet, all this is stuff that is going away or being moved as of September 8th. The Joy and Sadness character meet and greet, the Mickey and Minnie meet and greet, Baymax, these are all in the Innovations buildings. Those are going to be relocated. They're getting rid of the Starbucks. They might be getting rid of the Fountain of Nations, it's called, right?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Then there's a Colortopia Innoventions. I have not walked through the Innoventions building in so long. I don't even remember what these things are. I remember going through them when they first opened. Yeah, the Fountain of Nations, they said, is going to get an update. The Art of Disney, and Penn Central needs to go. Penn Central is in the middle. It's outside, and it's where there's these huge white banners. They look like sails, ship sails, and they have these huge things in the air.
They're like pennants. They're like like a triangle
above you, and they're getting rid. And it's an outdoor thing, and they're gonna get rid of that whole.
I'm glad that's
area.
going too, because it really kind of blocks the view.
Yeah, it's very choppy.
Spaceship Earth from behind.
Very choppy.
And I'll tell you another thing that's closing down is the camera shop, which is about time because.
Oh my God! Do people even go there?
There are always people in there for something. The camera shop was a big deal back when people had film. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I wonder if they ever had. Someone let us know in the comments. I would not be surprised about this. Back in the days when we had cameras with film in them, I wonder if they had like 1 hour photo developing.
They might have. That's young people don't even, because now you just use your phone. I mean, some people that are like traditionalists might take, like our daughter loves to collect cameras and she'll take like Polaroids and things. She's into photography. But most people obviously use their phone and they don't even print it. They just like pictures I take, I just put on Instagram and I just go. And then if there's like a Disney photo pass thing, we might get those printed.
Well, the
house.
camera shop is getting turned into the Penn Central. Okay. And the camera shop, I did go in there a while back. You'll remember, I went to the park and I was vlogging, and I always bring an extra SD card. I always bring an extra SD card.
You must.
And this particular day I didn't, and I got to EPCOT.
After a 3-hour drive.
Yeah, and my SD card in my camera was corrupted. Right. And so I go to the camera shop to buy an SD card, and I think it was a 16, what do they come in, megabytes?
It was like a 32.
It was a 16 or a 32 megabyte, it doesn't matter, and it was $65.
That's
and
insane.
this is crazy.
They're like $10 at Walmart.
So I left EPCOT and left Disney property and drove to the Walmart right off the property.
Like an hour
and got one for a few dollars, and then I came back. But yeah, the camera shop's a little. I was just last weekend. I was at the Magic Kingdom, and there was a kid. He was playing on a payphone, and his mom comes by. This little kid, and she says, "Do you know what that is?" And he said no, and she says, "That's a telephone." And she started taking pictures of him on the payphone. So I can only imagine a camera shop. Kids don't even know what that is.
Well, the problem with Innoventions, with Future World, is it has become extremely obsolete. And I remember when EPCOT first opened, and we went up there right away in the early 80s, and I was in middle school. And it was like so cool. I thought they had all these cool exhibits, and it was all about, it was kind of like a World's Fair feeling, where they had like exhibits and where you go and try things out. And I remember they had this thing where you pushed and you'd see all these colored bubbles pop up on a huge screen. You're like, wow. And now you look at, if you watch old videos of EPCOT back in the day, you're like, that is like the lamest, because things have advanced so much. The problem with EPCOT, with the Future World, is they cannot keep up with the technology. Like EPCOT Innoventions has been remodeled so many times because they have to keep remodeling themselves, little bits here and there, to keep up with the technology. It's advancing so quickly. So I think they're trying to get away from trying to keep up with everything, and they just want to pick something and do something that's going to last. And I think that's a good idea. But so for Mouse Gear, which is a great store, they're going to remodel the whole thing, which they really need to do. I love that store, but it is a zoo. You go in, it is so crowded because it's really the only so I think it's the only Disney store in the park that has like, like a World of Disney type store, like the Emporium, it's like the only big one. It is insane in there, and the way they have it organized, it is like you're shoulder to shoulder with everybody. It's completely like claustrophobic. You can't move around, and I know with the World of Disney at Disney Springs, they completely remodeled it and made it much more open and or arranged the store in a much better way. So I think that's what they're going to do.
You know, it's kind of it's Mouse
Which is
Gear.
smart.
Now, and maybe you guys have a different opinion, but just me. It doesn't seem organized at all. I know they got like a Star Wars section, but it just seems to be kind of like a hodgepodge of whatever they can fit in.
That's right.
You know,
they're going to fix that.
I really don't like Mouse Gears because of that.
Right. I like it because they have really good stuff, but it's a disaster to shop in. And another thing they're getting rid of, which I'm so excited about, is the electric umbrella. I hate that restaurant. It is so dated. First of all, get rid of carpeting in food places. Okay, carpeting does not belong in a restaurant where you have fast food and you have kids everywhere. That carpet must be so disgustingly filthy. So they're redoing that whole thing. It is so dated and dark and just not modern looking at all. So I, for one, am very excited about the changes coming to Epcot. It's going to take 3 to 4 years, they said. Minnie Mouse is moving to the World Showcase gazebo. Daisy Duck will move to the American Adventure. Mickey and Goofy are temporarily going to be in Innoventions West, but will have a permanent location in the Imagination Pavilion. And Winnie the Pooh is returning to the UK, which is where he belongs. So they're going to spread out some of the characters. Baymax have not been relocated yet. Joy and Sadness from that movie I never saw about the emotions. Anyway, so I'm excited about that.
Well, it's about time because I can remember years ago you would get off of Spaceship Earth, and they've had different things in that area of Spaceship Earth. And now when you get off Spaceship Earth, you can't wait to get out of there. But it used to be there were all kinds of things that were cool to play with, and it's so dated now.
It's dated. So I'm really excited to see what they're planning on doing. On Innoventions West, they have the main part of that area. They have Mouse Gear Store. They have the electric umbrella. And what else is there? The first aid station is there. What else is in that building?
They have a guest relations. And the buildings are really empty. You're talking about the one with mouse gears in it?
Yeah,
there's not much over there. Most of it's empty because the character greetings and stuff are kind of in the front of the buildings and they have walls up. And I was actually just watching a video on YouTube today. A lot of the old things and innovations, they're still sitting there. It's just everything's covered up with the wall. Yeah, they've kind of abandoned
these buildings. Yeah. They're also redoing the land pavilion and the Living Seas. It's rumored they're going to update those. They really need to update Future World completely. It is very dated. The buildings are dated. And like I said, when it opened in 1982, so this was a long time ago, everything looks so cool and so modern. The buildings are like, wow, everything was so neat. But now it's like, okay, this is like really, it's dated very,
part of it, a lot of the changes, those buildings have to be changed. The other one has to be torn down. The other Innovations building with Club Cool in it, because I told you.
And they're redoing Spaceship Earth.
But when all of these things are opening up, you're going to have, the gondola is going to be opening up any minute, right, at Epcot. They're going to have Ratatouille over there, and they've got the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster. It is going to be so overloaded with people. And I'll tell you, I'm really wondering about the future of all these festivals, because we were talking about this on our last show. The festivals were brought there to bring crowds in because people were not going to Epcot all that much. People would go once or twice and never go back, and they brought the festivals in to get people. But now that they're going to have these huge new rides, Ratatouille, that's going to be massive, and the Guardians of the Galaxy coaster, the parks are going to be overcrowded. So I'm guessing what they're going to do with this Future World thing is they're trying to have a way to have. They're not going to get rid of the festivals. They're not going to get rid of the festivals. They might. I think they'll shorten them, but I think they're trying to set up ways to have the festival booths in a way where they can still have high traffic because of all these new rides. Because where Guardians of the Galaxy,
like a festival area or center.
Well, yeah, to get to the Guardians of the Galaxy coaster, if it's going to be like it currently is, you got to go through the Innovations building towards Test Track. And that's really a small area to go for such a major ride, because Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm telling you, Guardians of the Galaxy, when that opens, is going to be as huge as Smuggler's Run. It's going to be as huge as Smuggler's Run. So? There's going to be a line.
I don't know.
It's not
as big as Star Wars. Come on.
I'm telling you, it's going to be like Hagrid's at Universal. There's going to be a line. I'm telling you right now, I'm predicting it. There's going to be a line from the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster going all the way back past Spaceship Earth to the entrance of the park.
For sure.
There may be they may have to line people up outside the park. I'm telling you, it's Guardians of the Galaxy is huge, and that coaster, the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster, is that new technology where the coaster's spinning around and it's very interactive. There's only one other
Everybody's
coaster
gonna
like this.
go on it.
And it's going to be like Hagrid's is going to be like old and boring compared to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Hagrid's looks pretty amazing to me, but I have to hand it to Bob Iger. I mean, Michael Eisner was the CEO when we were growing up, and when you look back on what he did to Disney, it was really lame. I mean, Paradise Island or something, where you can go get drunk and people act crazy. We went there for our honeymoon. It was, I could tell you stories what I saw. But, I don't know what he was thinking. He really did not have any vision at all. He was really copying other people. Bob Iger really has vision, and he is really changing Disney so much. I mean, it's exciting what's happening. So I know like annual pass holder prices are going up, prices of things are going up. But this is what happens when you have the growth. The money's got to come from somewhere, and that's the way it is. You want to see things change. You want to see things grow and evolve and keep going back, and people will keep going back. Now, the only thing with EPCOT is they're going to start all this construction. They're redoing Spaceship Earth. Future World is basically going to be like nothing to see here for like 3 years. So then they're going to open Ratatouille and over there. So the World Showcase is going to be where everybody's going to want to go. I think Future World right now, people will go, but it's just not going to be, I think people are going to wait and say, you know what, let's wait till all this is done. Wait till 3 years from now. Then we'll go on our big family trip. Not everybody goes as much as we do. Some people go once every 5 years, once every 10 years, because it's expensive. So they might say, you know what, let's wait till all of this is done, and then we'll do a big blowout and we'll go on a big trip. But it's exciting. The only thing is with Disney, if you get people used to constant changing, that was our cat, sorry. If you get people used to constant change, then that's what they expect. And if you stop doing that, you're going to start disappointing people.
They're never going to stop. And
you don't think so?
No, this is what I'm telling you. This is what's going to happen. There's the massive overhaul at EPCOT, and they're adding countries too. They're adding new countries.
Brazil. And that's the rumored one. And I would like to see India. I can see the Taj Mahal.
That'd be cool.
And I would like to see Australia and maybe Russia would be cool.
I'm telling you what Disney's going to do. Of course, you got Galaxy's Edge and all these changes over there, and then you got EPCOT. The next thing, after they're finished with EPCOT, the next thing they'll be doing, is Animal Kingdom, because that whole dinosaurs got to go. At Animal Kingdom, I went on Dinosaur. I remember going on Dinosaur.
I love that ride, but it's too dark.
No,
it's too dark.
I went on Dinosaur when it was new, and I was like, "Wow, this is the most amazing! I can't believe this technology." And then I went a few months ago. I went on Dinosaur for the first time.
So you think rides get
in
dated?
Like 5 years? Yeah, and it's beyond dated. I mean, the people in the video have like the pads on their shoulders.
What
from the 80s.
What would you do for? I heard rumors. Or whatever, people talked about changing the dinosaur ride to Indiana Jones, which they have at Disneyland and we don't have. What would you do in that area? Because I don't love Animal Kingdom. It's like I haven't been in so long. It's not even, I know we need to go because we do vlogs, but it's like my least favorite of the parks.
My least favorite, yeah.
So I haven't been there in so long, mainly because it's not disabled friendly. I'm in a scooter, I'm on oxygen. The ground is so bumpy, I feel sick when I leave. And it's a huge park, so I don't feel well when I go there.
Yeah.
But a lot of people love Animal Kingdom. They love the whole animal thing. I love animals, but that park is not for me. So you think that's going to be the next big?
Yeah, it'll be the next big one, and all that. See, Animal Kingdom. It is my least favorite park. I think the park was a mistake. Animal Kingdom, the whole thing, and people don't remember when Animal Kingdom first opened up. It was very controversial on the safari. I remember the safari ran over an animal and killed it when the park first opened. It was a disastrous opening.
Well, they started a whole campaign, remember, called Not a Zoo.
Not a zoo,
Not a zoo, but it kind of is a zoo. I don't like animals in captivity.
But when you go back towards Dinosaur, there's all the dinosaur stuff and the play area for the kids. And I was watching the Imagineer who was in charge of Animal Kingdom. I can't remember his name, but everybody knows him. He's the Imagineer.
With the ear thing that hangs down.
Yeah, the Imagineer with the big earring. And he talked about this. He said, when we were designing Animal Kingdom, it's when Jurassic Park was the big thing. And that obviously had a lot of influence because Disney didn't have Jurassic Park, so they were trying to do something for that. And it's really, I think it's kind of out of place for the theme of the park. And I'll tell you another thing.
Me.
So is all the Avatar things. I don't think Avatar fits in the animal kingdom either.
But people love it. You know, when they were going to do a fourth park, I was kind of hoping they were going to do like more thrill rides, like more of a, kind of Universal Islands of Adventure type thing.
Yeah.
Something for older kids, teenagers, or adults. I don't ride those rides anymore, but something more with thrill rides and make it, I don't know. I have nothing against animals. I don't personally like animals in any kind of captivity at all. I know they're treated very well there, but a lot of people love it. It's super packed when you go, but I think you're right. I think down the road when they're done with these 3 parks, I think they will definitely be making some changes there.
Well, they're
going to have to.
I don't think people realize there has always been nonstop change at Walt Disney World, at all the parks.
It just seems like more now than at one time.
I don't know. I think maybe it seems that, well, obviously, because we're coming up on the 50th anniversary of Magic Kingdom, and they're coming up on the 40th anniversary of EPCOT, right? But there's always been changes. I think it seems like more changes because we watch so many vlogs and people are always talking about it. I mean, look at Magic Kingdom with Tron. And when I was up there last weekend, I got to tell you, Tron is going to dwarf Space Mountain. It's going to change the whole, I don't know if you call it like a cityscape, because every park has like
it's way in the back. It looks really far away. I'm sure they'll, redo the whole landscaping, but it's really kind of far.
They're redoing a lot of Tomorrowland, and it's going to really come out over towards where the lunching pad is and all those things are. It's going to be absolutely
some kind of
insanely amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
There's always been many, many changes. People don't realize, but a lot of these rides that people think have always been at the park since they opened have not always been at the park. And they got rid of the Wild Toad ride, right, Mr. Toad?
Yeah, Mr. Toad's.
And Mr. Toad was, because it was like an iconic thing. People
that was my favorite ride as a little girl.
Yeah, people love that ride, and now most people don't even remember.
So it's still at Disneyland.
Yeah,
and I've watched POVs of it, and it's very dated. It's very dark. But you have to evolve. You have to make changes to keep people interested. I mean, you have to update things, obviously, but still keep the original feel, and that's the challenge.
Well, there's always been change, like at Magic Kingdom in Tomorrowland. They, if you had wings, and that was like,
oh my gosh,
man.
I love that ride.
And when I heard,
I was really upset
when they took out "You Have Wings." I was really upset.
That was a great ride.
Yeah, but they replaced it with Buzz Lightyear, which is amazing.
Yeah, But If You Had Wings was such a great ride. It had a great song, and when we go to the parks, it's always been the same since I was a kid. And you and I do the same thing. We go down Main Street and we go straight to Tomorrowland.
Yes.
Every time we go off to the right, that's it. Boom. And then we loop around. That's always the first place I go. And I remember when I was a kid, If You Had Wings was always the first ride I went on. Always. Yeah. And I love that ride. That and Mr. Toad, I think, were my top 2. And I was disappointed when they got rid of it because it was really a fun ride. And I never got tired of it. But, Buzz Lightyear is a great ride.
But, and then it's been closed down for a long time is the Stitch ride. And then that was the Alien Encounter before that.
That whole thing needs to go.
But before Stitch and Alien Encounter, it was Mission to Mars. And then it was it was a moon mission ride when the park first opened. And those rides, I remember Mission to Mars was a really cool ride at the time.
I never went on that ride.
Oh, yeah. I loved it. It was absolutely amazing. And when they closed down Mission to Mars, people were having a fit. Now, again, there wasn't social media then, so the outrage was, people like, how can they take out Mission to Mars? How can they do this? And then they put in Alien Encounter, which was a flop. But things are always changing and evolving.
That's just part of it, which I think is overall a good thing.
It just seems like more because there's social media and we're seeing it more. You understand?
So we're starting to do a new thing on our vlogs. Brian and I, it was actually your idea, I think, to do a Disney checklist. Because Brian goes to the Magic Kingdom or one of the parks for the day, and it's a 2.5, 3 hour drive. And you like to have, a plan in mind sometimes of what to do. So you have like goals to see and accomplish. So we thought of, let's do a Disney checklist where we have 3 or 4 things on the list. And I guess I got made too many on the list for you last time. So I'm already compiling the next list for the next vlog. And there's a new dessert type thing of soft serve, which I really want to try. And it's at the Sunshine Terrace. If you're in Magic Kingdom, the Sunshine Tree Terrace. And it just came out. It was on the Disney food blog. I think it just came out today or yesterday. It's called Red's Revenge. And it's a strawberry Dole Whip. And it's based on the red-headed pirate. Oh. And it looks so cool.
I'll definitely check that out.
It's very Instagram worthy. It's all pink. And there's a little candy red pirate hat on the top.
That sounds really good.
It's all red. It looks really good. And then at the Polynesian, they have some new dessert with chocolate-covered bacon, which looks amazing. Yeah. So, anyway, those are things we'll have to try out.
I wanted to bring up one thing before we end. One last thing. Well,
no, we have to talk about the couple other issues we mentioned at the beginning.
The
aerial thing.
Okay, before we get out, I just want to mention one last thing. If you watch my vlog at Magic Kingdom, which is the most recent vlog where I went to the parks, and I went up there and I got in the Fast Pass lane for Space Mountain, and I had Fast Passes, but they were for like 3 weeks in the future.
It was my fault. Even though you didn't want to throw me under the bus under the video, I appreciate it. I booked your Fast Passes and I chose the wrong date. So you got to be careful of that.
They were good for the end of July.
So he'll go back then.
I wanted to ask people this and leave a message down in the comments. When I found out I didn't have Fast Pass, I thought I had a Fast Pass to Thunder Mountain Railroad and Space Mountain, and I didn't.
2 great rides.
And I'm at the park, and I got a Fast Pass for the Barnstormer. It was the only ride I could get a Fast Pass on.
Not on the top of the list right now.
Not really. I mean, I hate to get a Fast Pass for Barnstormer, but it was all I could get. So I wanted to ride. I wanted to ride something. I'm at Disney World. I kind of am in this head, and I'd like to know. Write about this in the comments below if you are in this head. If I don't have a Fast Pass, I really won't ride much of anything. And now I will wait in line for as long as 30 minutes, 35 minutes.
You refuse to wait in line. Like you said, the Space Mountain was 50 minutes. And by the way, a lot of times, the time on the screen, it's less than that time. So you can shave off a good 10, 20 minutes sometimes. So you called me and you're like, well, the line is 50 minutes for Space Mountain. I'm like, well, why don't you wait in line? No. I'm not going to, I don't have Fast Pass. I'm not going to do it anymore. So are you spoiled now or?
Well, if.
You're just on a time
usually
crunch?
When I go to the parks, I don't stay up there very often. We stay up there sometimes, but during the summer, we don't go up and stay. I just go up for the day. So there's a bit of a time crunch. But the only time I have gotten in a line that was longer than 30 minutes was a 50-minute line, 50 or 60-minute line for Slinky Dog Dash when I went to Toy Story Land for the first time.
And that was worth it.
And I got on the line. It was a 60-minute line. I got on in maybe 50 minutes, and it wasn't that bad.
It's always a little less.
But that was a brand new ride I'd never been on. I just cannot get myself, and I know a lot of people wait in lines because I see the lines. I cannot get myself to wait in line. And maybe this is also because we're annual pass holders. Because if I don't get to do something, I'll come back in a few weeks. I'll do it again in a couple weeks. I'm not. If you're going once a year or every 5 years, you're going to wait in line, I guess. Because you may never get to see it again.
You're like, I'll just come back in 2 weeks.
So let us know in the comments. If you don't have Fast Passes, do you wait in line for Space Mountain? Because I see these lines, 90 minutes, 70 minutes.
Well, would you rather go on 2 rides like Barnstormer and, say, the Teacups that aren't your top favorite? Or would you rather wait in line and go on one ride that's your favorite? Because Space Mountain's your favorite ride.
Yeah, Space Mountain's my favorite.
So would you rather go on 2 rides or wait in line and go on the one ride you like?
I have not gone on Space Mountain without a Fast Pass in years. And I did not know this until recently. I saw this on another vlog. We watch a lot of people's vlogs on YouTube.
We do. We have no life.
Yeah, Pagey Mr. Morrow. We watch. Come on, everybody watches.
Yeah, we do. We love him.
Pagey Mr. Morrow. I did not know this. And he did this just a few weeks ago on Space Mountain. Space Mountain. Did I say Face Mountain?
Space Mountain. That would be a really creepy ride.
Space Mountain has a single rider line, kind of. It's not the same as the other rides. When you get up top, if you tell them you're alone, you'll get ahead of a lot of people.
I just love
it. Does shave a lot of time
off. That's good.
Off.
And I think Disney should have single rider lines for all their rides. I love the queue at Space Mountain. I've always loved it. It's so cool.
I do single rider a lot on things. And sometimes single rider, to me, it gets to be a little uncomfortable because you're on with other people, and it's like a family.
No, but I think
or
they
a
should
group.
offer it. They should offer it because a lot of people do go alone, and I think they should have it as an option. So
It's got, I don't know, do any of you guys feel uncomfortable sometimes if you do single rider? Like, sometimes I was on Frozen a couple weeks ago, and I was single rider, and I was with a group of people that I never met, and they're like partying, and I was on another ride, and it was a whole family with their kids, but there was
every
one
ride
spot.
you're going to be, if you're alone, every ride you're pretty much going to be sitting with strangers if you're by yourself. So what's the difference?
Sometimes it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Maybe the idea of it. So if you're there alone anyway, you're going to sit with people unless you're on like, maybe Dumbo or Barnstormer where they give you your own thing. But anyway, the last thing I want to talk about, the last two things. It's so funny when they have these controversies over movies. I wonder how much of this is real and how much of this is, contrived for publicity. But Disney is doing a live action of The Little Mermaid, which was our daughter's favorite movie as a little girl. I mean, she knew every line. She watched it every day. She would sing the songs. Ariel is a very, very popular princess. And, Ariel she's Caucasian. She has red hair, blue eyes. Her cartoon images everywhere, all over the park. It's on all the merchandise. It's on the ride. It's in the the cartoon, and even the character Ariel that you meet has red hair and is Caucasian and everything. So the live action movie, they have cast an African American girl who is extremely beautiful and can sing amazing in the role, and people are really upset about this. And my first thought was, well, I really don't care what she looks like as long as she's talented. That's what matters to me, because I don't see the live action as the same as the cartoons. And I think most kids see the cartoon as the Ariel as the princess they identify with. The live action, I don't know if kids identify with that as much. So my only first thought was, would it be confusing to kids to have her look so different? But I thought about it. I don't think so. Like I said, I think kids differentiate the two, but a lot of people online are like really upset about it, that she does not have red hair, that she doesn't look the same. But I don't think it's a big deal at all.
You know what?
I really don't.
By the way, the red hair is like a wig, so she might have red hair,
and it might make people happy.
Okay. I think we'll fine. I'm sure the movie will be good, but it does seem a bit odd to me, because The Little Mermaid has been around for a long time. They've got the Little Mermaid ride.
Exactly.
And the new Fantasyland.
She's on all the merch there.
Over there at Magic Kingdom. They've got the show at Hollywood Studios.
That's right.
So for little kids, I think it might be a little confusing.
That's what I'm wondering.
For little kids.
It might be a little confusing.
I mean, if they did Mulan and cast like a white, blue-eyed, blonde-haired girl to play Mulan, people are like, well, what's going on here? So because these are established characters,
right?
I understand they're fictional characters, but they're established characters, and you have so much imagery in toys, the movie, the cartoon movie, the ride, the shows.
But I think
it should be consistent.
I think kids relate to the cartoon as the main character more than the live action film.
Yeah.
I don't even know if kids go to as many of the live action films. Like, they might go see Aladdin, but I think they think of the genie as the genie from the cartoon, not as Will Smith. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's a big deal. A lot of people are really upset about it.
What would happen if they did say, for example, they did a live action Toy Story, and Buzz Lightyear and Woody were black? Would people be upset by that? Would it confuse people?
I'm sure people would be upset, because people get upset over everything these days. I don't see it as a problem. I don't see it as a big deal. It doesn't bother me. But like I said, it might not confuse little kids. They might not care. Little kids aren't obsessed with race like adults are, so they might not care at all. But it's just a surprising decision for Disney to cast somebody. Like, my daughter thought they should have cast Ariana Grande in it, and she thought that she'd be
Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande she thought she was perfect,
that would be good.
And then she wanted to see Queen Latifah as Ursula, which I think would be perfect, because she did a photo shoot with Annie Leibovitz a few years ago as Ursula. It was amazing. But they have Melissa McCarthy as Ursula. I don't know how I feel about this. I like Melissa McCarthy. I don't even know if she could sing, but I don't see her as. I mean,
no,
did they only cast her because she's overweight? I don't get it. I mean, I don't see her as Ursula. Queen Latifah would have been a much better choice, because she can sing. She's super talented. She did the photo shoot with Annie Leibovitz as Ursula a few years ago. You can Google that.
Yeah.
That's who I envision. So whatever, you guys leave a comment what you think about it. I'm indifferent. It doesn't matter to me. I'm sure it'll be a good movie. This girl is extremely beautiful and talented. I'm sure once the movie comes out, people will go see it and they'll calm down. I think if they give her the red hair, that might make people a little happy with that, because that seems to be the biggest issue, more than the skin color. The red hair.
Well, this is what I wonder. If the movie, and it all depends on how big of a hit the movie is. The movie may come out and be a flop.
No, I think people will go.
Well, yeah, but will it have like staying power and be like, wow, this is a great movie that overshadows the cartoon? Because if it comes out, if the Little Mermaid movie comes out, the live action, and it is a massive hit, like an Avengers movie or something, will they change the imagery on the rides and things like that throughout the park?
You never know. Yeah. I don't think they would, but
I've never seen them do something like that.
I don't know if
before.
it'd be confusing for kids. Maybe not. I don't know if kids even notice that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? They might, but who knows? And then the last thing I want to talk about is another interesting thing, a little controversial, not really, but Toy Story 2, which was directed by John Lasseter. Remember, he used to run Pixar. And he was let go for sexual harassment complaints that he was acting inappropriately in the workplace. And he directed Toy Story 2. And there's a scene in the bloopers at the end where Stinky Pete, who's like the guy, this other toy, is kind of having a Me Too moment with a couple Barbie dolls in the box, where he says, "Oh, I can get you a part in the next film." And he's kind of ogling them and holding their hand. They cut that, and I remember that, and I thought it was funny. They took that out of the bloopers this week.
Oh, it was,
and he directed. That
okay,
movie.
Wait, it was one of those. It's ironic. One of those fake bloopers that they do at the end.
Yeah, they do it at the end of all the Toy Story movies.
Yeah, so they took it out. Well, it's out, so it's out there anyway that they took it out.
It's out. They took it out.
I remember that now that you mentioned it.
But it's kind of weird because the director kind of had his own Me Too moment.
Yeah, why would they have that in a kids movie?
Yeah, I remember when I saw that, I was
that seems a little inappropriate.
It made me a little tad uncomfortable because I'm like, this is a kids movie. I mean, I thought it was funny as an adult, but I thought maybe this is pushing things a little too far. Anyway, leave us a comment, you guys. What do you think about the new Ariel? You like her? You don't like her? Do you not care? You're going to see it anyway? You're not going to see it? A lot of people talking about it. What do you think about the new changes coming to EPCOT? And again, this is Main Street Moments podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, and we will see you guys at the parks.